But what it does is it goes around and it looks at each page, and as it looks at each page, it then begins to try to figure out, where am I going to put you in my index? Google has an index, a database, and Google has to determine where we're going to put you in the index. Remember, Google can't see all the bells and whistles. Google can't see the pictures, the JavaScript. Google cannot see the dynamic links and all of the dynamic menus and things that you've got on there. Google essentially is a browser. It goes in and looks at your site, but what does it see? That's what it sees. Now, some of you folks design websites, and most all of you probably have done view source. You go in and look at a website, you click on view source, right click on pretty much any browser, click on view source, and you'll see this is about half of the code on the site that we were just looking at. But Google's not interested in all of that. There are certain things that Google is interested in. Google looks at the page, and at first it looks behind the page. It looks at the code and looks to see what's there in the code. Then it looks at the page itself. It looks at the top of the page to see what's there. It looks at the middle of the page to see what's there. And it looks at the bottom of the page to see what's there. Once it takes a look at what's there, it then determines where it's going to put you in its index. Can anybody look at this and tell me what's probably the most important thing that Google's looking for?
Probably
Title.
description.
Behind the URL, the title.
Stand out. Keywords.
Oh, you mean, oh, okay.
Google has no idea what your page is about. Google doesn't have your eyeballs and your brain to try to look at the pictures and see what your site is about. Google looks at the invisible portion of your site, the stuff that's in the header. It looks at the stuff that's in the body, and it looks at the meta tags. It does look at the title tag, the description tag. It doesn't look at the keywords tag. I'll talk about the keywords tag later. But it does look at your heading tags. It does look at your links. It looks at your image alt tags. It looks at those, and it tries to determine what it is that you're talking about. Let me give you an idea, or give you a story that may give you an idea as to how this works. I'm a Christian conservative Republican. Okay? I hope I didn't offend anybody, but that's what I am. I built a website that I call WeWantToTakeAmericaBack.com. Okay? Without getting into politics, here's the point. I went in, and on this article, I titled the first article, "The Lunatics Are Running the Asylum." I used the byline, "The Lunatics Are Running the Asylum," about every other paragraph. Not even thinking about what I was doing. It just read good. To me, it's a place for me to go vent. I went into Google. I set it up with Google, went in their Webmaster Tools and set it up. And Google and their Webmaster Tools will tell you what it saw and what it looks at and what it thinks you're talking about. And as far as Google is concerned, my site is about lunatics and asylums. That's what it's about. Because that's what it read. That's what it saw. It looks for certain things. Now, we'll talk about some of those things it looks for, but the primary thing that we're going for is keywords. What's a keyword? Anybody have an idea what a keyword is?
The word you think someone's going to be looking for. The word you think someone's going to be looking for.
Every time you sit down in front of a search engine and you type something into the box, you click search, whatever you typed in the box is a keyword. Keyword, key phrase. The idea behind optimization is you've got to figure out what it is that you're trying to say and spoon feed that to Google in such a way that when they look at it, they read it and determine that that's what you're talking about. That's the first thing, is getting into their index where you want to be. Not where they want you to be, but where you want to be, because they have no idea. So, how do we come up with keywords? If you're sitting down with your customer and you're trying to decide, or you're sitting down with yourself, you've got your own, how many of you have your own websites? I know Leslie does, okay? You're trying to determine what you're gonna do with your website, how you want it to work, and what you want people to find. You've got to determine what it is that people are looking for to find you. What do you want them to see? What do you want them to find? And what you want them to find, you go through, you do your brainstorming, you go to industry trade magazines, look at the titles of the articles that they're using. Industry trade magazines write about interesting stuff that people want to read. If they didn't stay in business much at all. So what you do is you look at what they're doing. One thing that most website people, most SEO people don't do is look at your competition. Your competition is ranking. How are they ranking? You need to figure out how they're ranking, and then you need to incorporate some of that into what you're doing so that you can rank too.